The alarm screamed through Outpost Theta 7 like wounded animals. Commander Vextal's 6 eyes widened as he stared at the display screen in front of him. Something was coming toward their space, and it was moving faster than anything he had ever seen before. "Report!" Vextal shouted to his crew. His voice echoed in the metal halls of the monitoring station that floated at the edge of the Zephyrian Empire's territory. "Sir, we have detected an unknown vessel," said Operator Nixra, her tentacles dancing over the control panel. "It is approaching at 97% light speed. The energy readings are impossible." Vextal felt his blood turn cold. In his 40 years of service to the Empire, he had never seen anything move that fast. The fastest Imperial ships could barely reach 60% light speed, and only for short distances. This thing was cruising at near light speed like it was taking a pleasant walk. "Show me the power readings," he ordered. The main screen filled with numbers that made no sense. The energy output from the approaching vessel was massive, bigger than anything in their databases. It looked like the signature of a battle station the size of a small moon. "How big is this ship?" Vextal asked, though he was afraid of the answer. "Unknown, sir. Our scanners cannot determine the vessel's size. The energy field around it is interfering with our instruments, but based on the power output, it must be enormous." Vextal's hands shook as he reached for the emergency communication device. This was beyond his authority to handle. He needed to contact Imperial Command immediately. Far away in space, Captain Jake Morrison stretched in his pilot's chair and yawned. The small bridge of the Liberty's Edge was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Jake was a tall man with brown hair and friendly eyes. He had been flying through space for 3 days now, and he was getting bored. "How much longer to the survey point?" he asked. Lisa Martinez looked up from her engineering station. She was a small woman with dark hair tied back in a practical ponytail. "About 6 hours, Captain. The new Alcubierre drive is working perfectly. We're making great time." Jake nodded and smiled. The Alcubierre drive was Earth's newest invention. It could bend space around the ship, letting them travel at incredible speeds without actually going faster than light. It was like riding inside a bubble that moved through space. "Any word from home?" Jake asked Amy Carter, who was sitting at the communication station. Amy was young, maybe 25, with blonde hair and bright blue eyes. "Nothing yet, Captain. We're still too far out for normal radio contact. But the quantum transmitter is working fine." Tony Sullivan, the navigator, was a quiet man with glasses who rarely spoke unless asked a direct question. He was studying his star charts when he noticed something odd. "Captain," Tony said slowly, "I'm picking up some unusual movement in this sector. Lots of ships gathering in formation." Jake frowned. "Ships? What kind of ships?" "Unknown design. They're big, though. Much bigger than anything we've seen before." Jake felt a small worry in his stomach. Earth had sent them out to explore this part of space, but they hadn't expected to find anyone else out here. The radio telescopes back home had detected some signals from this direction, but nothing that suggested a major civilization. "Are they military?" Jake asked. Tony adjusted his glasses and studied the readings more carefully. "Hard to say, Captain, but they're definitely armed. I'm reading weapon signatures on most of them." Meanwhile, back at Outpost Theta 7, Commander E. Vextal was speaking rapidly into his communication device. On the other end of the line, Admiral Korthak was not happy. "You're telling me that an unregistered vessel is approaching our core systems at near light speed and you don't know what it is?" Admiral Korthak's voice was like grinding metal. "Yes, sir. The energy readings suggest it's larger than anything we've ever encountered. It could be a new weapon from the Outer Rim rebels." Admiral Korthak was quiet for a moment. The Outer Rim territories had been causing trouble for the Empire lately. Several planets had declared independence, and there had been rumors of new weapons being developed. But this was beyond anything they had imagined. "I want all available fleets moved to intercept," Admiral Korthak ordered. "Deploy the 3rd, 7th, and 9th battle groups. Set up a defensive line around the Proxima system." "Sir, that's over 300 ships. Are you sure we need that many?" "Look at those power readings again, Commander. We're not taking any chances." As Admiral Korthak ended the call, He turned to his aide, a nervous creature named Yithra. Send. Word to the science division. I want our best people analyzing this vessel immediately. Within hours, 3 massive Imperial fleets were moving toward the unknown ship. Each fleet contained over 100 vessels, from small fighters to massive dreadnoughts bristling with weapons. The combined firepower was enough to destroy entire solar systems. Back on the Liberty's edge, the crew was starting to notice more activity around them. Captain, I'm reading a lot more ships now, Tony reported. Hundreds of them, they're surrounding our position. Jake stood up from his chair. This was definitely not a normal patrol. Amy, try to contact them. Use the universal peace signal. Amy's fingers moved over her control panel. She broadcast a simple mathematical sequence that Earth scientists had designed as a peaceful greeting. It was based on prime numbers and basic physics, things that any intelligent species should understand. Signal sent, Captain. Now we wait. But, on the Imperial ships, the universal peace signal was causing confusion. The alien computers tried to translate the mathematical sequence, but human mathematics was different from anything they had seen before. The way humans understood numbers and physics was unique, and to the Imperial translation systems it looked like some kind of advanced battle code. Admiral, the alien vessel is transmitting what appears to be military encryption, reported the communications officer on the Imperial flagship. Admiral Korthak's expression grew even darker. Military codes? So they are hostile. Sir, our code breakers are working on it, but the encryption is unlike anything we've seen. It's incredibly sophisticated. On the Liberty's edge, Jake was getting worried. The alien ships were getting closer, and none of them were responding to Amy's peaceful signals. Lisa, how are our defensive systems? Jake asked. Lisa checked her instruments. All systems normal, Captain, but honestly, if those ships are hostile, our shields won't do much good. There are too many of them. Jake made a decision that would change everything. Instead of running or fighting, he decided to trust in humanity's greatest strength, curiosity, and the desire to make friends. Amy, prepare a full cultural transmission. Send them our music, our art, our literature. Show them who we are. Amy looked surprised. Captain, that will take a lot of power, and we don't know if they'll understand it. Do it anyway, Jake said firmly. If we're going to meet our neighbors, let's make a good first impression. As the Liberty's Edge began broadcasting the greatest achievements of human civilization into space, 300 alien warships prepared for what they believed would be the battle of their lives. Neither side knew that they were about to make history. Dr. Zethmore stared at the data screen until his eyes hurt. He had been the Empire's top scientist for 20 years, but nothing in his experience prepared him for what he was seeing. The readings from the unknown vessel made no sense at all. Power output is impossible, he muttered to his assistant, Dr. Quien. According to these numbers, their fusion reactors are producing energy at rates we thought were purely theoretical. Dr. Quien, a thin creature with pale blue skin, looked equally confused. Sir, if these readings are correct, their ship must be the size of a moon. Nothing smaller could house reactors this powerful. What neither alien scientist knew was that human fusion technology worked completely differently from Imperial power systems. Humans had learned to squeeze every bit of energy from their fuel, making their small reactors incredibly efficient. The Liberty's Edge was actually no bigger than a large building, but it produced more clean energy than most Imperial battle cruisers. On the bridge of the Imperial flagship Dominator, Admiral Korthak paced back and forth like a caged animal. His scales changed color from green to dark red, showing his stress. Around him, dozens of officers worked frantically at their stations. Status report, Korthak demanded. All 3 fleets are in position, Admiral, reported Captain Zixta. We have the alien vessel completely surrounded. Starbreaker cannons are charged and ready. Admiral Korthak nodded grimly. The Starbreaker cannons were the Empire's most powerful weapons. Each one could crack a planet in half. He had ordered 12 of them aimed at the unknown ship. What about the political situation? Korthak asked his advisor, Yithra. Yithra was a nervous creature who always worried about everything. Admiral, several member species are asking questions. The Cathari want to know if this threatens their trade routes. The Vorthak are demanding we share any technology we capture. They can wait, Korthak said coldly. First we deal with this threat. On the Liberty's edge, Captain Jake Morrison was starting to realize how serious their situation had become. The alien ships had formed a perfect sphere around them, and every ship was pointing weapons in their direction. Amy, any response to our cultural transmission? Jake asked. Amy Carter shook her head. Her blonde hair was messy from running her hands through it nervously. Nothing, Captain. They're not responding to anything we send, but I am picking up a lot of chatter between their ships. Can you understand any of it? Not really. Their language is completely different from anything in our databases. But the tone sounds urgent. Lisa Martinez looked up from her engineering station with worry in her dark eyes. Captain, I'm reading massive energy buildups on those big ships. Whatever they're planning to do, it's going to be powerful. Tony Sullivan adjusted his glasses and studied his navigation screen. Captain, I count over 300 ships out there. Some of them are huge. The biggest ones are larger than anything we imagined possible. Jake felt the weight of command on his shoulders. He was responsible for his crew and for representing humanity in what might be first contact with an alien civilization. So far, things were not going well. Ideas, people? Jake asked his crew. We could try to run, Lisa suggested. The Alcubierre drive is faster than anything they have. But that might make them think we're hostile, Amy pointed out. Running away could start a war. Tony nodded slowly. Amy's right. If we run now, they might follow us back to Earth. Jake made a decision that surprised everyone, including himself. We're going to move closer to their flagship. What? Lisa nearly shouted. Captain, that's suicide. No, listen to me, Jake said calmly. If we run, we look guilty. If we stay here, we look like we're preparing to fight. But if we move toward them slowly, with no weapons powered up, it shows we want to talk. Amy stared at him. You want to fly directly at 300 alien warships? Just to their command ship, nice and slow with all weapons offline. Meanwhile, the Imperial translation computers were having a terrible time with the human cultural transmission. The aliens had never encountered anything like human music before. To them, organized sound was only used for communication or warfare. The idea of creating beautiful sounds just for pleasure was completely foreign. Admiral, the alien transmission appears to be some kind of psychological warfare, reported the communications officer. The organized sound patterns could be designed to confuse our thinking. Admiral Korthak's scales turned an even darker red. Psychological attacks? What else are they sending? Mathematical sequences, visual patterns, and what appears to be written language. Our computers cannot decode any of it. The mathematical concepts they use are completely different from ours. What the Imperial computers couldn't understand was that humans had developed math and science through curiosity and cooperation, while the Empire had developed technology through conquest and force. The two approaches created completely different ways of thinking about the universe. Dr. Zethmore was becoming more puzzled by the minute. The visual transmissions show images of a blue planet with white clouds, but the electromagnetic spectrum analysis shows impossible atmospheric conditions. What do you mean impossible? Dr. Quian asked. According to these readings, 70% of the planet's surface is covered in liquid water. That much water should make the planet uninhabitable, and yet the images show thriving life everywhere. Neither scientist could imagine that humans had evolved on a water world. In the Empire, most species came from dry planets with very little water. The idea of swimming or sailing on vast oceans was terrifying to them. On the Liberty's edge, Jake gave the order he hoped wouldn't get them all killed. Tony, plot a course for the biggest ship in their formation. Nice and slow. Lisa, power down everything except life support and communications. Captain, this is really dangerous, Lisa said, as she began shutting down systems. I know, but someone has to make the first move toward peace. As the small human ship began moving toward the Imperial flagship, panic spread through the alien fleet. To the Imperial commanders, it looked like the mysterious superweapon was beginning its attack run. Admiral, the alien vessel is moving. Directly toward us, shouted Captain Zixta. Speed is increasing. Admiral Korthak felt his heart racing. This was it. the moment of truth. All ships, prepare to fire on my command. But then something strange happened. Dr. Quien, who had been listening to the human transmission, suddenly gasped. Admiral, wait. I think I understand something about their transmission. What? The organized sounds. I think they might be. Expressions of emotion, not weapons, and the visual images. They show creatures caring for their young, working together, exploring their world. Admiral, I don't think they're hostile at all. Admiral Korthak hesitated. His finger was on the firing control, ready to unleash enough firepower to destroy a solar system. But Dr. Quien's words made him pause. Are you certain? No, sir. But if I'm right, and we fire first, we might be starting a war with beings who only wanted to say hello. Jake Morrison had no idea how close he had come to dying. As the Liberty's Edge slowly approached the alien flagship, he made one more attempt at communication. Amy, broadcast this message on all frequencies. We come in peace. We want to be friends. The T. Simple words translated by computers that finally began to understand human intentions reached the Imperial fleet, just as Admiral Korthak was deciding whether to fire. For a long moment, the fate of two civilizations hung in the balance. Dr. Quien worked frantically at her computer station, trying to make sense of the alien transmission. Her pale blue fingers moved quickly over the controls as she isolated different parts of the human cultural broadcast. Dr. Zethmore, you need to see this, she called to her supervisor. Dr. Zethmore hurried over, his 6 eyes focusing on the screen. What have you found? I've been analyzing the visual images from their transmission. Look at this sequence. Doctor. Quien pointed to a series of pictures showing humans building together, teaching children and caring for the sick. These beings don't seem to fight each other. They work together. Dr. Zethmore was confused. That's impossible. How does a species advance without conquest? How do they grow strong without war? I don't know, but look at their planet. Dr. Quien showed him images of Earth's cities, forests, and oceans. Everything is clean and growing. Their world isn't scarred by battle. This was very strange to the Imperial scientists. Every species in the Empire had advanced through war and conquest. Strong species took what they needed from weak ones. It was the natural way of things. The idea that beings could grow powerful through cooperation was completely foreign to them. On the bridge of the Dominator, Admiral Korthak was still deciding whether to fire. His weapons officer, Commander Rixipol, was waiting for orders with his hand on the firing controls. Admiral, the alien vessel is now within close range, Commander Rixipol reported. If we're going to fire, it should be now. But Admiral Korthak was thinking about what Dr. Quien had said. What if the aliens really were peaceful? What if this was all a terrible misunderstanding? Wait, he ordered. Let me speak with the Science Division first. Meanwhile, on the Liberty's Edge, Captain Jake Morrison was trying to stay calm as his small ship approached the massive alien flagship. The alien ship was 10 times larger than anything humans had ever built. Its dark metal hull was covered with weapon ports and armor plating. Captain, they're scanning us with everything they have, Lisa Martinez reported from her engineering station. Our shields are holding, but barely. Amy Carter was still trying to establish communication. I'm broadcasting our peaceful intentions on all frequencies, Captain, but I'm not sure they understand. Tony Sullivan looked up from his navigation controls. Captain, I'm reading massive power buildups on at least 50 ships. They're preparing to fire. Jake felt sweat on his forehead. He had gambled everything on the hope that these aliens would recognize peaceful intentions. If he was wrong, his crew would die in the next few seconds. Amy, try sending them our emotions directly, Jake ordered. Amy looked confused. Our emotions? How do I do that? Use the bioneural transmitter. Send them what we're feeling right now. Our curiosity, our desire for friendship, our wonder at meeting them. Amy had never tried to transmit emotions before, but she was willing to try anything. She connected the ship's bioneural scanner to herself and began broadcasting her own feelings of excitement and peaceful wonder at meeting alien beings. The transmission reached the Imperial flagship just as Sensor Prime Lithara was monitoring alien communications. Lithara was an empath, one of the few beings in the Empire who could sense emotions directly. When Amy's emotional broadcast hit her, Lithara gasped and nearly fell from her station. She had never felt anything like it before. The emotions coming from the human ship were pure curiosity and wonder, mixed with hope and a genuine desire for friendship. "Admiral," Lithara called out urgently, "you must stop. These beings are not hostile." Admiral Korthak turned toward her. "What are you talking about? I can feel their emotions, sir. They're not angry or aggressive. They're excited and curious. They want to meet us as friends." Admiral Korthak had known Lithara for many years. She had never been wrong about reading emotions before. But this was hard to believe. "Are you certain?" "Yes, sir. I've never felt emotions this pure before. These beings don't even seem capable of hatred or aggression." Dr. Zethmore's voice came over the communication system at that moment. "Admiral, I believe Sensor Prime Lithara is correct. Our analysis of their cultural transmission shows no evidence of warfare or conquest. These beings appear to have advanced through cooperation and peaceful exploration." Admiral Korthak felt his worldview beginning to crack. Everything he had been taught about how species advanced and grew strong was being challenged. How could beings become powerful without war? "Sir, what are your orders?" Commander Rixpol asked, still waiting to fire. Admiral Korthak made the hardest decision of his military career. "Stand down all weapons. Open a communication channel to the alien vessel." The weapons officer stared at him in shock. "Sir, are you certain?" "Do it now." On the Liberty's edge, Amy suddenly heard her communication system come alive with an alien voice. The voice was deep and rough, but the ship's computer was able to provide a basic translation. "Unknown vessel. This is Admiral Korthak of the Imperial Fleet. We wish to communicate." Jake felt relief wash over him like a cool wave. "Amy, respond immediately." Amy keyed her microphone. "Admiral Korthak, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth vessel Liberty's Edge. We're explorers from the planet Earth. We come in peace and friendship." There was a long pause before Admiral Korthak responded. "Earth, we have no record of this planet in our databases. We're from far away," Jake replied. "This is our first time in this part of space. We're exploring and hoping to meet new friends." "Admiral," Korthak was quiet for several minutes. Finally, he spoke again. "Captain Morrison, would you and your crew be willing to come aboard our ship? We would like to meet you face to face." Jake looked at his crew. Lisa looked nervous. Tony was adjusting his glasses thoughtfully, and Amy was smiling with excitement. "What do you think?" Jake asked them. "It's risky," Lisa said. "We don't know anything about them. But it's also an incredible opportunity," Amy added. "We could be the first humans to meet an alien civilization." Tony nodded slowly. "If we're going to establish peaceful relations, someone has to take the first step." Jake made his decision. "Admiral Korthak, we would be honored to meet you. How do we proceed?" "We will send a shuttle to bring you aboard. Please bring no weapons." "We don't carry weapons, Admiral. We're explorers, not soldiers." This statement caused another wave of confusion on the Imperial Bridge. A ship with no weapons? How did they defend themselves? How did they conquer territory? Admiral Korthak was beginning to realize that these humans were unlike any species he had ever encountered. As he prepared to meet them, he wondered if this encounter would change the Empire forever. Dr. Quien continued analyzing the human transmissions and made another discovery that shocked her. The humans had detailed maps of their own planet, showing every continent and ocean. But the maps showed no battle lines, no conquered territories, no signs of war between different groups. "Dr. Zethmore," she called excitedly, "I think these beings live in peace with each other, all of them on the same planet." Dr. Zethmore couldn't believe it. "That's impossible. No planet can support multiple intelligent groups without war." "But look at the evidence. Their cultural transmission shows different human groups working together, learning from each other, sharing knowledge." As the Imperial shuttle launched toward the Liberty's Edge, both sides prepared for a meeting that would change the galaxy forever. Neither could imagine what they were about to learn from each other. The Imperial shuttle was unlike anything the human crew had ever seen. It was large and dark, covered in thick armor plating. When it docked with the Liberty's Edge, Captain Jake Morrison and his 3 crew members prepared to make history. "Remember, we're representing all of humanity," Jake told his team as they walked toward the airlock. "Let's make a good impression." Amy Carter carried a small device that would help translate their words. Lisa Martinez had her engineering scanner, hoping to learn about alien technology. Tony Sullivan brought his navigation charts, thinking they might be useful for showing where Earth was located. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, and the humans got their first look at Imperial technology. The shuttle's interior was functional but not comfortable. Everything was designed for efficiency, not beauty. The walls were plain metal with no decorations. An alien pilot greeted them with a series of clicking sounds that their translator turned into words. "Welcome aboard. Admiral Korthak is waiting to meet you." The pilot was tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. He moved carefully, as if he expected the humans to attack at any moment. But when he saw their friendly smiles and relaxed behavior, he began to relax too. The trip to the Imperial flagship took 20 minutes. During the journey, the humans looked out the shuttle's windows at the massive fleet surrounding them. Each ship was bigger than anything they had imagined, covered with weapons and armor. "They must be very afraid of something to build ships like this," Amy whispered to Jake. "Or maybe they're used to fighting," Jake replied quietly. When they arrived at the Dominator, the humans were amazed by its size. The ship was like a floating city, with thousands of crew members and endless corridors. Imperial guards escorted them through the ship, and everywhere they went, alien crew members stopped to stare at them. Admiral Korthak waited for them in the main conference room. He was a large creature with scales that shifted color, showing his emotions. Right now, his scales were a nervous yellow-green color. "Captain Morrison," Admiral Korthak said through the translator. "Welcome aboard the Dominator. I am Admiral Korthak, commander of the Imperial fleet." Jake stepped forward and extended his hand in the human gesture of friendship. Admiral Korthak stared at the offered hand for a moment, unsure what to do. "It's called a handshake," Jake explained with a smile. "It's how humans greet each other as friends." Carefully, Admiral Korthak reached out with his clawed hand and grasped Jake's hand. The moment was historic. The first peaceful contact between humans and the Galactic Empire. "Please sit," Admiral Korthak said, gesturing to chairs that had been quickly modified for human use. "We have many questions." Dr. Zethmore and Dr. Quian were also in the room, along with Censor Prime Lithara and several other Imperial officers. They all stared at the humans with curiosity and amazement. "You are much smaller than we expected," Dr. Zethmore said. "Based on your ship's power output, we thought you would be giants." Lisa Martinez laughed. "Our ship is small too, only about the size of a large building on our world." This caused shocked murmurs among the alien officials. Dr. Quian leaned forward. "But the energy readings from your vessel suggest massive power generation. How is this possible?" "We learned to make our technology very efficient," Lisa explained. "We don't waste energy. Every bit of power is used carefully." Admiral Korthak was struggling to understand. "But how did you develop such advanced technology without conquest? Our scientists tell me your species shows no signs of warfare." Jake smiled. "We learned that working together gets better results than fighting. When different groups of humans share knowledge, we all become smarter and stronger. But surely some groups try to dominate others," Admiral Korthak pressed. "How did you prevent this?" Amy Carter spoke up. "We did have wars in our past, but we learned that cooperation works better than conflict. We discovered that when everyone benefits, everyone is happier and more productive." The concept was difficult for the Imperial officers to grasp. Their entire civilization was built on conquest and domination. Strong species ruled weak ones. It was the natural order. "Show us your navigation charts," Admiral Korthak requested. "We want to know where you come from." Tony Sullivan spread out his star charts on the conference table. The alien officers gathered around, studying the maps with great interest. "Your charts are incredibly detailed," said the Imperial navigator, Commander Yexra. "And accurate. We have been mapping this sector for centuries, and your charts show errors in our own maps." Tony adjusted his glasses. We use a different method for measuring stellar distances. It might be more precise than your current system. Dr. Zethmore was examining Lisa's engineering scanner. This device is remarkable. May I ask how it works? Of course, Lisa said happily. It uses quantum resonance to analyze molecular structures. Would you like me to show you? As Lisa began explaining human technology, something amazing happened. The Imperial officers realized that human science wasn't just different, it was often better. The humans had solved problems that the Empire had struggled with for centuries. Your fusion reactors produce no waste? Dr. Quian asked in amazement. None at all, Lisa confirmed. We learned to use the fusion process completely. All the energy is captured and converted to useful power. Admiral Korthak was having trouble accepting what he was learning. You're telling me that your small species, working alone on one planet, developed technology superior to our empire of thousands of worlds? Not superior, Jake said diplomatically. Just different. We had to be efficient because we only had one planet to work with. We couldn't waste resources or pollute our world. Sensor Prime Lithara had been quietly sensing the emotions of the human crew. She spoke up suddenly. Admiral, these beings have no capacity for hatred or cruelty. Their emotions are unlike anything I've encountered in the Empire. What do you mean? Admiral Korthak asked. They genuinely want to help others. Even now, surrounded by our weapons, they're thinking about how to share their knowledge with us. They want to make friends, not conquer territory. This revelation hit Admiral Korthak like a physical blow. He had spent his entire life believing that strength came from conquest, that progress required domination. But here were beings who had achieved greatness through cooperation and kindness. Captain Morrison, Admiral Korthak said slowly. What do you want from us? Jake smiled. Friendship. We want to learn about your civilization and share our own knowledge. We want to explore the galaxy together and discover new wonders. You want nothing else? No territory? No resources? The galaxy is big enough for everyone, Jake replied. There's no need to fight over space when there are billions of worlds to explore. Admiral Korthak made a decision that would change the Empire forever. He stood up and formally saluted Jake Morrison. Captain Morrison, on behalf of the Galactic Empire, I offer you our friendship and alliance. Perhaps it's time for our empire to learn new ways of growing strong. Dr. Quian was already excited about the possibilities. Think of what we could accomplish working together. Human efficiency combined with Imperial resources. As the historic meeting continued, Amy Carter sent a message back to Earth using the quantum transmitter. Her words would soon reach humanity, with news that would change everything. Earth Command, this is Liberty's Edge. We have made contact with a galactic civilization. They are not enemies. They are potential friends. The universe just got a lot more interesting. The panic that had started with an unregistered vessel approaching at impossible speed had ended with the beginning of a new age. The Empire had learned that there was more than one way to reach for the stars, and humanity had found that they were not alone in the vast cosmos. Both civilizations would never be the same again.